Hey YouTube, today we are going to be watching Daniel 1v1 games that happened in Gamers Without Borders. Now, if you don't know what Gamers Without Borders is, it was a charity tournament for qualifying for Gamers 8, a $2 million LAN that'll be happening in Saudi Arabia. And the big thing about it that's different is that it is crew battle format. So it'll be 3s, 2s, and 1s, and the qualifier was as well. So we're going to watch Daniel's games against the rest of North America in 1v1. And the first one we're going to watch is Razebull. And what I want you guys to look at during this matchup between Razebull and Daniel is, do you feel like these players are playing differently because of the stakes? A lot of the arguments about 1v1 and whether or not it should or shouldn't be a part of RLCS or should have big lands is that when players play in high stakes games, they will play much more tentative. They will play tentative and they will not, put on the kind of show that we're used to seeing in ones, like we see from all the recent tournaments that are obviously games that would be very exciting to watch on LAN. So I think people were trying to say that this game right here was an example of maybe a game of two players playing it not like how they otherwise would, but I honestly didn't get to see this one. I saw the scoreline afterwards, so I'm ready to take a look at it, see if I agree with those people, if this might be the end result of the extra pressure. But Razebull is certainly capable of putting up a good game against Daniel, no matter what. But no scoring so far. I haven't really felt like these players have played especially safe. Razebull can't get back to this shot from Daniel, so he's finally going to break the seal. A lot of these matches have to do with kickoffs as well. It's probably another one of the biggest arguments, is a lot of players, or a lot of viewers, aren't super excited about kickoffs. Daniel missing on this follow-up attempt. Certainly something you don't expect to see from him. First shot off the kickoff was solid, put Razebull into the net. Now we see Daniel on the bounce dribble. Hook shot, crossbar down. Had another chance to score. Now wants to outplay Razebull, misses off the back wall. Daniel just trying his best to pepper the net, but can't seem to score. There is one moment where we maybe saw a decision by Daniel to take a ground dribble as opposed to maybe going to the wall, which he does in the past. But I think when Daniel's looking to try and win, that is just a mix-up that he has. Now we'll see if he takes this. If he doesn't take this air dribble, then we know something's wrong. Reset shot, bottom right. What a save by Razebull. Razebull has just been hitting his net peppered with shots. Doesn't seem to bother him at all. Daniel having to pre-flip through to grab this boost. Still has this full field dribble. Decides to just tap it towards Razebull. Couldn't really get back to the ball. Maybe could have tried to go for the bump as well. I haven't really seen anybody declining to play their normal playstyle. Daniel pre-jumping this air dribble. Launches the ball away. Cannot catch back up to Razebull before Razebull goes for the back corner dribble. The whole distance of the field. Daniel has the save. Maybe on the goal line, these players are being a bit safer. Instead of trying to find ways to dunk or bump, they're just turning to leave to prep for their, defensive stand as opposed to really trying to go all in for a goal. But Razebull's going to try again. Daniel off the ceiling. That's certainly not the safest way to play on defense. And Razebull's dribble lands short. Tried to throw in a few fakes to see if he could get Daniel to make a mistake on defense. But no, Daniel off the ceiling on this one. Just slams to the back wall. Has to try and find a way to get boost. And still protect against Razebull's shot. But he didn't get boost. And he didn't do a protection against the shot. So he did absolutely nothing of what he wanted to. And it will be 1-1 with a minute left to go. Razebull fake kickoff. Every kickoff so crucial in a low-scoring game like this. Daniel, he loves spree jumps, always has. He jumps from high off the wall this time. Wants to get a counterattack on target. He knew he could get the ball to the back wall before Razebull got there. So if he had put it on net, it would have been a goal. Razebull might have just sniped the bottom left. And what happened here from Daniel? Because I feel like he should have had this recovery. Gets his boost stolen, which is a tough position. And he flips. I'm not sure what it mattered. Even if he had landed with his wheels down, it all came down to trying to race Razebull in the back corner, and a race that he lost. So down 1 with 43 seconds left to go. Daniel waiting for this ball to come to the ground. Raisebowl not challenging there. Okay, both players did seem a little tentative. Can't imagine a world where that ball often comes to the ground with neither one of them trying to make a play on it. Daniel has to make a tight angle save. He's looking to try and set up an attack the other way. Raisebowl clearing to his corner. Daniel off the ceiling. Bit too strong of a first touch. Can't follow it up. Off the crossbar again is Daniel. Can't get this 50. It's going to pinch away. Daniel has had so many almosts. I got to see what the shooting was at the end of this game. We can check the scoreboard. Full field dribble reset. Daniel can't 50 it in. Raisebowl sends it to the ground. 11 shots to 4, but you know what matters? Raisebowl got 2 goals and Daniel got 1. So Raisebowl wins this 1v1 against Daniel. I think V1 went on to win the series ultimately against Complexity, but still an impressive performance. Do you guys think it was any different than we see normal 1v1s? It might have been, but I think Daniel was, I mean, I don't know. I might be a bit of a Daniel homer, but I feel like he was just a few pixels away from winning this like 5-2. He just missed so many good opportunities. But anyways, we have more Daniel 1v1 replays. We're going to go check them out. Coming up now. Second replay we have of Daniel playing 1v1. It's going to be against G2 Atomic. Now, if you happen to watch the scrim that we did between Atomic and Optic, then you saw a single game of 1v1 against Atomic and AJ. And Atomic was actually able to win that 1v1. And before this match, too, Atomic playing S5 Cosmic. S5 Cosmic came in as a mercenary for Koi to play the 1v1s. And everybody was expecting S5 Cosmic to get that win. He is rank 1 in the world right now, but Atomic took him down. I think Atomic, a bit of a better 1v1 than maybe people realize, just because he hasn't been in the game mode as often as others. Doesn't mean he maybe doesn't have what it takes. So we'll see what he can do here against Daniel. Just about the toughest, if not the toughest. You know what? I think it is the toughest. The toughest player to play against in North America. Atomic definitely uses his aerial game from what we've seen so far in his 1v1s. And we shouldn't be too surprised. Sometimes players like Atomic, who are certainly capable in the air, like any good threes player has to be, will be afraid to use the mechanics when it comes to ones. They don't feel like they're safe enough, but that's certainly not the case in Atomic's position. Flick from Daniel. It has the speed. Atomic. Daniel spamming reverse cam in celebration. One of the things that I think is interesting about these 1v1s as well is they're always in comms with their teammates, but they might not necessarily be listening to them. Do you guys think players in general probably deafen up? I know AJ talked about deafening up, which is essentially turning your mic off and the comms from your teams off, so you're back to playing all by yourself. But I've definitely heard videos of players at least playing portions of games with their comms still on and their teammates talking to them. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, depending on what kind of player you are. If you guys know a lot of Feer lore, then you maybe have heard me talk about how Chronic would play. Oh, that's filthy. Daniel hitting a nice reset breezy flick, but you've heard me talk about how Chronic played almost all of his show matches with Flitz in comms with him, because he just liked having somebody he could talk to, maybe, you know, preventing him from getting too deep into his head as Atomic gets to 50. And that could be helpful for these players as well. Just have a buddy, you know, to vent about when you're talking about certain things. But of course, show matches and a tournament like this with a lot more on the line might be a bit different. Atomic might be able to escape his own half and score. Daniel actually recovered with 0 boost in time. You would certainly think that if you have a player who knows ones as well, maybe if you have a teammate who's just about as good as ones but not quite as good, that's why you're playing them, it could be worthwhile to hear their opinions on the game, what they think you maybe should do, because sometimes you just need another set of eyes, and if you have a player who knows the mode, might as well use them. Daniel up 4-2, launching this one to the ceiling. I don't think he's going to be able to score off it. I'm actually surprised that he tried to, because obviously Atomic is going to take that off the back wall before Daniel gets a shot. And because Daniel jumps, it'll be a free take. So Atomic within one. A lot more scoring in this one, but played in the same game. As you can see, we're on the same map, which I believe is game 4. I want to say when version 1 had the choice, they were picking to go to Daniel and Beast Mode in 2v2. Ooh, that was almost a great shot, as Daniel saw the way that Atomic was set up in net, tried to take it to that back post behind him. Shot it a bit wide. Right now he's had possession for a full minute, it feels like, just playing a bit of keep away. Atomic has to save and cannot have a follow-up. So Daniel ultimately off kickoff, probably holding on to the ball for a minute or so before eventually scoring. Atomic's kickoff seemed just fine though, and the setup off the wall. That's what I'm talking about in terms of confidence. He needs to work on the finish a little bit to make sure the defender misses, but doesn't seem afraid to start with tough setups. Daniel counterattacks for a 6th though. Minute 30. And a flick kickoff, 7-3. Daniel escaping a little bit right now. Trying to skip replays like I always do on accident whenever we have a few snoozers in a row. Atomic wanted to set some sort of dribble up after pushing the kickoff into the orange half, but not really much he could have done there. That's why he seems setting it up so slow, and Daniel just takes it away. Low 50, Atomic can't get his own boost. This should just be a goal for Daniel. A little bit too awkward off the ceiling, so he couldn't rush it as fast as he needed to. No, Atomic was low. He still made it back in time. But a minute left to go. Daniel gonna play keep away. He wants a psycho. Still haven't seen anybody but Zen hit one, and now I've seen him score one twice since he was able to hit one in the Gamers Without Borders in the previous video we uploaded yesterday. If you didn't happen to catch it, go back and check it out. Daniel flicking over the early challenge. Hard to blame Atomic for diving in a situation like this. He needs to do something. And with 30 seconds left to go, Daniel very likely securing this win. This was, I believe, in the winners finals, but not the grand finals because there was a bracket reset. So I want to say the next 1v1 series, or the next 1v1 game we're going to watch, which is actually against S5 Cosmic, comes in the grand final. After that point, S5 Cosmic have been doing really well in 1v1 and holding it down for Koi. So we'll see if it, oh, wait a second. I didn't even notice this. I think I watched this live. I can't remember that he went for a pogo at the end, but he didn't hit it. We'll watch Daniel versus S5 Cosmic in what I believe was the grand finals coming up now. Grand finals of the Gamers Without Borders. Version 1 against Koi. Version 1 gets a game advantage in a best of 7. So they already started out up 1. Game 2, they win in the 3v3, and now it is game 3, which is the choice of Koi. They get to pick whether it's going to be 2s or 1s for this game, and they decide they're going to play 1s. They said, Cosmic, can you please go try and get us a win against Daniel, because we do not want to play against Daniel and Beast Mode in 2v2s, which of course would have been the other option. And Cosmic, it's a very interesting situation with Cosmic, because the 1v1 Mercenary is the thing that teams brought out in the last qualifier for Gamers 8, but the difference was I don't think we saw any of those 1s players actually go to Saudi and play in the tournament, whereas I have been informed that Cosmic intends on playing at Gamers 8, that he will go with Koi to Gamers 8 and play their 1v1s. Now, I don't know if something has changed between this year and last year, because it wasn't just that the players decided not to go. I think their play wasn't going to get covered, or their tickets were going to get covered or something. So something has changed, apparently, if you ask Cosmic, because he's expecting to go. By the way, great possession play from Daniel right there. He knew he had Cosmic in a bad situation and didn't rush it, just cut around the net a ton of times before eventually scoring. Cosmic has been on the rise recently. It's been a very interesting story to watch in ones, because if you guys have been around my channel for a long time, there are lots of players that started in Cosmic's situation, players who were playing in qualifiers for various tournaments. A lot of my tournaments that I've run, I've always had open qualifiers as well as closed, so players could play from just about anywhere. And Cosmic actually probably had to play the majority of them through the open, at least at the start. He was a PS4 player, I believe. And while he was very solid, and I remember always being like, wow, this S5 Cosmic guy is making it, farther than I would have expected. He never really broke through. And after switching to PC and grinding more and more, we have seen him absolutely break through. And like I said, there's tons of players in that situation who, never quite break through, and that's fine. Maybe they don't keep grinding the game. Maybe they can't get the switch to PC buff because they're already on PC or whatever. But it's always fun to watch somebody who's been around the one scene for a while and been putting in the work have it finally pay off, and it has happened for Koi. Now, if you guys are wanting to see Cosmic show matches, because he's rank 1 and because of his performance in Gamers 8, a lot of people have been interested in getting him in more matches. He told me recently that he's switched back to 3v3 focus, and I think that's because the RLCS is in the next few weeks, and he was saying after the RLCS, he'll have time to go back to 1v1 focus before Gamers 8, because Gamers 8 is actually in August, which is a decent amount away, and the RLCS qualifiers are right now. So once the RLCS is over, this split is over, maybe we'll get to see some more Cosmic matches, but for now, I think he's going to be locked in on 3v3, which I don't believe he is playing with Koi. I don't think he's the Koi sub. Maybe he is. That would be interesting. But either way, I think he's... I guess he has to be if he's signed with Koi. I didn't even think about it until just now. I thought he was just trying to qualify, but maybe he's just trying to grind threes for his sub spot on Koi. But I guess it would depend on whether or not he's just playing Gamers 8 for them or is just fully on the RLCS squad. Cosmic, great recognition that Daniel was diving way too deep, but Daniel got the demo as the last second save. Hook shot behind Cosmic. That's a bit of a missed wave dash. And here's another situation where I think Daniel's just prioritizing keeping possession. He could try and get a shot on target, and maybe it hits into Cosmic and ends his long possession, or he could just tap it to the other corner and make sure he stays in control. This was a bit of a risk, though. He's been playing too safe. It's kind of interesting to credit him for making sure he stays in control of possession to the point where he's then takes it a bit too far and doesn't seem to want to make a play on the ball when he needs to. And now he gets demoed. Cosmic able to score. So Cosmic within 1. Demo again. This should just be a tie game. 4-4 with a minute left to go. Cosmic trying to do for Koi what just about nobody else could. Raze will able to get that low-scoring win against Daniel, but that did come off the back of a lot of crossbar hits. Daniel hasn't been hitting the same kind of crossbar shots in this match. Cosmic has been forced to match Daniel's offense. Reset from Daniel. Oh my goodness, Cosmic actually falls down to the ground, decides to defend it from the ground instead of the back wall, and still gets the save. Not often do you see that. Daniel, another dribble. Makes the flick. Cosmic has that read, but it's another play by Daniel that keeps possession in his control. Off the backboard, the double is missed. The follow-up, though, is in. Not letting the defender get a play. That seems to be Daniel's main focus, and it has resulted in him having a 1-goal lead. He wants to kick off goal. Cosmic slamming off the backboard. He knows Cosmic won't be back around to make a play. Both of them on 0 boost shortly after the kickoff. So Daniel will go all the way back into his half, and he's definitely playing his advantage late in this game, trying to bait Cosmic into a bad play, trying to, early challenge when he's coming off the back wall. Cosmic ultimately stays fairly safe, but the problem with that is Daniel will just win. He's done such a good job of holding on to possession that if Cosmic doesn't take a big risk, then the game's not going in his favor. So 5-4 to Daniel. He wins this 1v1, and then version 1 wins the next 3v3 as well. So they actually full sweep the grand final. Cosmic wasn't able to help his squad this time around, but he has been playing well, and he will be in Saudi. So S5 Cosmic, it'll be fun to see him in 1v1 against other players. But next video, I think what we're going to do is we're going to look at Daniel and Beast Mode 2v2s, because Daniel and Beast Mode 2v2s are going to be seen a lot in Saudi as well, and I'm excited to see what that might look like.